as well. I was in Bombay a day before, and I
Right.
had my exam in Delhi.
Right.
And that day, that incident of T1 terminal happened, so I
Right.
couldn't get
Oh,
any flight
yes.
back to Delhi.
Oh, yeah. Right. Right.
It was literally, I was on the verge of ki, I should just reach Delhi and okay, I'll think about my exam, I'll just give it. But RC was a big problem, I think, because of the attention span. It was very low. I like actually uninstalled Instagram. I was like, I have to increase my. Don't skip things if it's mentioned in the material. You should do it. And as I said, practice with patience. Like have that patience in yourself. I'll take 2 months, 3 months, but I'll complete the full course. That gives you a confidence that you have completed something. And there are a lot of already testimonials of people who have done that course. That builds that confidence as well in you, as well as your concepts would improve eventually, and you won't even realize it.
Absolutely wonderful score. I see that 695 on your GMAT. It was quantitative 89th percentile, verbal 96th percentile, and data insight 96th percentile as well. So, and this score, amazing score. And you shared this with Richa earlier on, I think when you got this score. So, how do you feel about this? I mean, in fact, you've mentioned, you shared a couple of things, but you could let us know how do you feel looking at this score?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like it's not near to the score that I targeted. I targeted much higher score around 735 or 725. But yeah, eventually the goal is for MBA. So this works right now. But I'm okay with like giving it again if it would be required.
Okay.
But yeah, actually quant was my strongest section, and I used to get like 95, 96 percentile there. And verbal and DI was something that I was struggling
Right.
from the start. So I was a little confused to see that score as well. But having
Right.
top 1% material really helped in both the sections.
Okay. So what happened on the quant day? I mean, on the D-day regarding
Quant, actually,
quant?
I reviewed my answers and I marked one answer from correct to incorrect. So I was,
Oh, that happened. Okay. And so how
uh,
many questions did you, if you're looking back at these, do you recollect how many questions you've gotten wrong from quant, verbal, and data insights in the main exam day?
I'll have to check. I think three or two on quant, one, two or three on quant, uh, four, 4 to 5 on verbal, and around 4 to 5 on DI as well.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the thing when you make a lot of very little mistakes in
Mhm.
quant, your score really
Yeah,
goes
score
up.
really like even one mistake
In
takes it
GMAT,
up.
yes, it's a
Yeah.
big thing.
So I still regret changing that one answer.
Okay. All right. So, Ishwinder, since you've joined, just let us know about yourself, what you're currently doing and how did this entire GMAT journey, or rather an MBA plan came into being, and how did you find Top 1% and Sandeep Gupta? How did it all started?
Yep. So a little bit about myself. I graduated from LSR. I did statistics honors there. After that, I worked for a year and a half at Accenture Strategy and Consulting, but realized that I'm not a consulting person, though, and I wanted to work actually something on execution. So I joined a startup, Foxy. It's a
Oh,
beauty e-commerce startup,
perfect.
similar to Nika. I joined them as pricing analyst, but got promoted really fast. I actually headed pricing retention for them for 1 year. And right now I'm working on the consultative pivot. So I'm handling growth as well as product for it. So
Right.
yeah, that's it. My day revolves around different beauty brands, getting them on board, correcting prices, looking out all the e-commerce channels. So yeah, a
Very
lot of
interesting.
data, execution, as well as strategy. So
Very
okay.
interesting. So, how did this MBA journey where did it stem from, that you would
Yeah.
want to do this MBA?
Yeah, so the work that I currently do, eventually it's a startup, so your work gets limited. I'm actually looking at doing the same work, but with bigger startups that have access to bigger data sets, something like Meta or Google.
Right.
And to have that growth in my career, MBA seemed like the perfect
Plan.
opportunity. And so I'm looking towards US schools as well. So
So you just
to get
want to have bigger scalability, let's say,
yes, and like most of these positions in these bigger companies are towards US, so
right.
a lot of those go there. So that's why
Okay,
MBA came into
perfect,
the picture.
perfect. All right. So, and then MBA happened. I mean, at least MBA as a thought came into picture, and you started with your GMAT journey. So, when you started off, of course, it seems you mentioned that quant was always your strong suit. So, what wasn't, and how did you go about when you looked at the material? How what was your entire perspective? You felt the need to do the quant in the way it was told, or you just skipped a little bit? How did you go about the preparations?
So yeah, so I'd given CAT once during my college as well, and I got a decent percentiles around like 98.5, and didn't study a lot because I had my placement before I gave CAT, so I was very sure of I'll go for the placement. And at that time also, I scored very high percentile in DI and quant, and verbal was very like
Lower end
bad.
percent.
So I
Yeah.
knew like this focus edition could turn out to be a positive thing for me because DI is also something that I really enjoy, like working with numbers on a day to day. But when I gave my first mock, I don't think I can tell you in the score. It was somewhere in 500s, but
Right.
DI was the lowest score and verbal as always, which I knew. And
Right.
quad was decent, still decent. So
Right.
I was actually very shocked to see my DI scores where thought that DI would have been my strong point. But
Right.
I think it came with practice.
Right.
Top material helped a lot. I think Sandeep sir has also mentioned that you familiarize yourself with all the question patterns,
Right.
do them, study each question in detail, know about it, what went wrong, what was right, how you could have done it in a short time, and complete all questions. So I'll tell you for I was actually left with around 6 questions with just, I think, 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
I marked all of them.
Right.
And then I went to review the three which I thought I could get correct.
Right.
So I think that helped me as a strategy. If I would have even spent like 5 minutes on one question, I would have left few questions. So that
Right.
helped in DI a bit, and I
Right.
got all three correct from the last six that I attempted. That
Right.
helped. Yeah, so practice, I think. Like,
Right.
if I have that Excel that Sandeep sir sends, right? And I
Right.
took a self-paced course.
Right.
So Excel with like the course, how you pre-work,
Study plan. Yes.
video. So I've done like literally every line item of that. I used to mark done, done, done.
Oh,
And
that's
once
wonderful.
I completed that, I was satisfied. Then I started giving my mocks as well.
Right. So any particular material that stood out for you that kind of helped you, especially in verbal, what seemed to be the most challenging section out of RC and CR, and where were you struggling more with?
So I was preparing for GMAT previous edition as well. The SC was the worst. So luckily that went out. So I was very happy. After that, RC was something that I still struggled with a lot. So CR, just doing the videos and all the practice material, the slides helped. I started giving my mocks, and CR I was able to get 90% plus accuracy from the start only. But RC was a big problem. I think because of the attention span, it was very low. I like actually uninstalled Instagram. I was like, I have to increase my reading span. I did a lot of RC, especially from the 700 to 800 level. I think I almost did all of them, like 110 or 120 of those. And that helped, like consistently doing RCs every day, 4 to 5 RCs.
If you've noticed, RC has been one of these major topic which requires a lot of attention. If you really
Yeah,
want
it
to
does.
ace 700, like, the score about 695, which is 750 plus around that score
Yeah.
previous attempt, you need to give RC a lot of attention. And what Sir has done is, you've seen it, he puts that in the very beginning of your preparation itself. He makes you give all your attention to RC. So preparing RC in the very beginning, did it help you kind of look at all the other section in the same way?
Yeah, did, because eventually in data insights also what I found out during the last, I think, last 2 weeks I was struggling. My DS scores initially were very, like, after doing the course were good, but during the last 2 weeks it actually started going down, and I realized it was attention only because I was losing my attention on RCs. It was reflecting in DI,
DI,
and
right.
both of them could be improved together because DI eventually is just like having attention to every information that's given. So yeah, that. And other thing in RC was also that when I used to do RC questions separately, then I used to get like decent accuracy because I was just, but doing mixed bag questions, especially the sectional tests that were there on the portal, helped a lot. Doing RCs along with CR was something that I was struggling with, but doing those sectionals again and again. So
So if
yeah,
you
that.
reflect back on how many questions do you think you would have solved? Because the number of
Hmm.
questions are very huge, but do you recollect how many passages have you solved, how many questions from CR, and roughly what is the amount of practice that you
So
did?
for RC, I'm sure like I would have crossed around 300, 350
Wow.
passages easily. I needed that practice as well myself. I was actually happy with my verbal score for sure.
Yeah.
That is something I didn't expect. For CR, I think I did 700, 800 all as well. So I used to do assumptions and like by topics around 10, so around 200, I think.
That shows, 300 passages, 200 questions of CR 96 percentile. I mean, that is, let's say, the recipe for it. Like without practice, it's
Yeah,
just getting
practice
tough,
is what, and
right?
practice with patience, like not rushing through. I think I rushed a lot. So I'd given the classic edition as well, and I scored 690, I think.
Right.
Then 690 on this feels
Much better on this one,
shifting.
right?
No, but yeah, that was the problem there as well. I used to rush through a lot of questions every day. I prepared for a month for that, and I took 2 months for this with like full 2 weeks break from my work. But I think this time I practiced a lot with patience. Like I sat with like on every question as to why it went wrong, what I could have done differently. So I
Right.
think patience also helped. Just doing questions would also
So,
not.
in through your preparation, did you find some of the questions that you still not answered? You took self-paced course, so the interaction, of course,
Hmm.
live interaction with Sandeep is so
Hmm.
limited there. But did you find yourself, asking more questions on the email or, getting on a strategy guidance calls?
Yeah, so I connected in between the Trisha and like so I mailed as well, but most of the answers I was able to find, and like so after every material you have those GMAT
Details.
queries by
Yeah.
so most of the answer I could find on that. So that's why I was very satisfied with the self-paced course. Literally everything that you could think about, any question that you had in mind, you would have had an answer.
And
So yeah, that really.
so this was what the course was given to you. There was proper approach to go through the course. Now you are in the startup, let's say the environment, but there was a lot of work demanding, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and it's been almost 6 months. Did it so happen that you did have a little break, or you could not give at it, or be consistent in your preparation? Did that happen?
Yes. It was there was a week I remember I was actually very stressed. So I started with the new project as well, that as I told you. And it's new role as well, from pricing to growth and product kind of things. That was completely new. I remember I was in this zone for 1 week where I couldn't do actually anything at work as well as studies, because at work I was thinking about studies, and during I used to open my laptop to study, I was thinking about work, I remember. So I actually talked to my boss, and he told me to just go on a leave for like 2 3 days. He was very helpful with that, and
Right.
I didn't do anything for those 2 3 days, and then started studying again. So yeah, that
And
like a week break helped.
how many hours would you give every single day to kind of wrap?
So after office, so I made a conscious decision to go to office early. So I used to go around like 8:39
Yeah.
and leave office by 5:36 max, like complete everything and like keep everything for office work outside. So I used to come back home, take some rest, and then I used to study for like 3.5, 4 hours on weekdays, and then good 6 7 hours on weekends.
So at a stretch, how long did you take to come to the D day, like the final GMAT exam day? How long was your preparation at a stretch?
So I booked my GMAT exam first. So I'm a person who love to have deadlines.
Right.
So I booked my GMAT exam around start of April. I started studying around 15th April, and I gave my exam on 29th. So
It's
literally two
like
and a half
less
months.
than, yeah, 2 months, 2.5 months. Great, amazing. Now, straight to the exam day, because it's not like it's not unfamiliar environment. Let's say you've been here once. So, in terms of the order of a GMAT exam, which one did you go for first? I'm guessing it would be one, but that you have to
No, I
know it
actually
wasn't.
I started with the verbal, then I had DI, and then quant.
So,
Did all my mocks in that order as
in
well.
that order itself. And when did you take a break in between?
I
Which
didn't. I actually didn't take any break. I started my exam early as well. They were fine with me starting. So I told Richa as well. I was in Bombay a day before, and I
right,
had my exam in Delhi.
right,
And that day, that incident of T1 terminal happened. So I couldn't
right.
get
Oh,
any flight
yes.
back to Delhi.
Oh, yeah. Right,
And
right,
it was literally, I was on the verge of ki, I should just reach Delhi, and okay, I'll think about my exam. I'll just give it with
right.
so I reached home around 2 in the night because I took a flight to Jaipur, then came to Delhi,
Right.
and then I went to the exam center in the morning around 9:15. I had my exam at 10:30. They told me that you can start with the exam right now. I started at 9:30. I think I was home by 12. No, yeah, 12:30, 12:45. My
Any
exam was done.
anxiety kicking in? Because so many things are going on. You were not sure if the flight will even take off or not. This is a terminal collapsing. The terminal itself collapsed, right?
Yeah.
And going through so many cities, any amount of stress, anxiety, what the exam will happen, or how did you kind of just keep that all thoughts away?
I think till morning I had just those thoughts of, okay, I'll just go and write my exam and won't expect a lot from it. So that's why I didn't take any break. Otherwise, even during my mocks, I used to take break. And I thought that I'll take a break after DI. But I was in that stage where in DI as well, I had 6 questions left with 5 minutes in hand. So it's like, I'll just finish this exam. And
It's
I
sheer
didn't.
practice. It's sheer practice. I mean, if someone is not prepared that well, this could have
No,
gone
I think it's
south.
because of that muscle memory only I was able to give that exam, giving it again and again, giving a lot of mocks. I was able to give it in one go.
So these mocks, did you practice around the same time in the day, like while you were preparing?
I think I did the last 2, 3 mocks around the same time, but all others were, I have a very messed up sleep cycle, so it used to be.
So on the exam day, did you find something very unusual that you've never seen, or how did you pace also? Like, did
Yeah,
you save
so,
some time at the end of every section?
no, so sorry,
So,
say
like the
again.
pacing of the exam as well. So, any unusual questions and any like how was the pacing for every section
So pacing was fine for verbal, even though I couldn't review any questions, but I completed every
on time?
question with timing. I think that practice helped. Quant, it was very nice. I had like 15 minutes left, I think, by the end of it as well. Although one question I got it correct though, was on geometry. And geometry is something which has gone out of focus. So they'd given a full explanation of the concepts of geometry, like how similar triangles work. This one is well, this
Congruent,
one
yes.
this ratio makes sense. And now we apply this to this question. So that was kind of shocking. I was like, I'm not expecting this.
But at least
But
you were thorough with the concept.
yes, yes. So yeah, that was the only question. Every other question I think was covered in the material I got from top 1%. So
It wasn't a geometry question. It was just that
it
the
was just
question. But that's funny. That's very tricky.
yeah.
They'll say they'll remove it out of the syllabus and they'll
Yeah,
somehow
but
find a
then
way to put it as a question.
yes, yes,
Right.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
basically,
everything
so
else was covered.
right. Now since it's been a while, you're on the other side. So there are obviously multiple things that you've said in the last few minutes that you must
Hmm.
do. But if you look back, what are the things that you would have certainly done, and what are the things that you would have completely skipped, like completely dropped? So essentially, the do's and the don'ts. And if anyone is listening and tuning into your preparation and draw inspiration, what are the few things that you would tell any student here?
That first, don't skip things. If it's mentioned in the material, you should do it. And as I said, practice with patience. Like, have that patience in yourself. I'll take 2 months, 3 months, but I'll complete the full course. That gives you a confidence that you have completed something. And there are a lot of already testimonials of people who have done that course. That builds that confidence as well in you, as well as your concepts would improve eventually, and you won't even realize it. That memory builds up. So yeah, that's my first advice. The second is be like, have that thing of consistency. Don't skip days. Like, even if you have to reduce some work in office, communicate it with your office people. That generally like really helpful. So communicate it to them that you're going to give your exam, and take out that time every day. Consistency really matters, because even like taking out that 1 week out of your full prep, it impacts your full preparation. And yeah, I think these two things would be the do's. Don'ts is, don't go to some other state just a day before your exam. Be back in the place that you're gonna give your exam a week before. That's it. I think don'ts, everyone learns through the journey. And
It's really scary though, you're now looking back and really laughing at it, but it's just so scary. You really have to have that courage to go back and sit through the exam and get a 99 percentile. It's amazing.
so that's how, if you study with that patience, you build that thing of just giving the
Can
exam. And
see it. Totally.
this I've seen, and actually a few of the testimonials. So I have gone through all the testimonials before my exam day when I was coming back from Bombay to Delhi. So I was just watching testimonials only, and saw that in one of the testimonials as well, that you've trained yourself to a point that you're just answering questions in a go. So I think that
That
helps.
helps. I mean, the entire point of these testimonial is to inspire you to do that.
Hmm.
It's just another trust that, you've trusted the process, trust the exam as well. You've done everything what is asked, and you will get there. So
Yeah,
we tell you in this language. Sometimes students love to hear it from other students who are in the
yeah,
same.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
To like hear others' experience, and that definitely helps.
So you chose self-paced course. You had certain thought in mind while you chose the self-paced course, and then finally, if you now look back, how did you think, self-paced course fared well for you? It all worked out for you in the end.
I think what I required was a certain kind of discipline, and that's why I was very doubtful about self-paced course as well. But I actually told everyone around me, like my friends, my mother, my sister, everyone, that you have, like, whenever you meet me, you have to tell me to study. So
Correct.
that's how I built confidence. Plus, I wanted to give my exam by 29th June. So online course wasn't even an option because it would have run a little late.
Correct.
So yeah, so that's why I took a self-paced course. Then I told everyone around me to just push me
That's
every time.
very smart and sweet. And everybody did. That's really,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah.
good. Superb. That's, very interesting. So what next for you? Because I remember when you initially started off with Richa, you said you were looking at 2025 intake as
Yeah.
well. So have you started working on the application? Any particular
Yes.
schools that you're
Currently, I'm
writing?
preparing myself on my own. So yeah, I've started my applications. I was just going through all the questions of different schools and writing down my story first, and then I'll.
And then you will put all these things together. It's
Yes.
around the corner. The application is already open.
Mm.
The window is open. So
Yes. Yes.
anytime now before the round one deadline is when you're looking at.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm planning to apply few in round one and few in round two.
Very smart. Okay. This is extremely good. So I am just hoping and I want to see that we'll stay connected on LinkedIn. But all of us are really proud, of course. We are
Thanks a
going to
lot.
be really rooting for that admit, and
Yeah.
around this time next year, hopefully you're actually going. And we are very,
Going.
very proud that, we were able to be a part of this small part of the, entire journey that is going to take another
Oh,
turn next
thanks a
year.
lot.
So we are extremely proud. You did us proud as well. And thank you so much for sharing this experience. I hope anyone watching it will benefit from few of the nuggets that you've shared.
Yeah.
I'm totally
I've already
inspired.
recommended a lot of people.
No, but I'm totally inspired. If you really want to do something here in this case, GMAT, you tell your people, and it's like manifestation, and then you get the score and then you get going, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing that that small pointer really would go
Yeah,
long.
yeah. No, no. Otherwise, I've recommended my friends also to join the top 1%. I've told them that one Excel, you just complete that
It's done. It's
and you'll be fine.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ishwinder, for joining me today's promised. We had, and you've covered it
Thanks a
all,
lot.
everything. And I wish you all the very best. Good luck
Thank
and
you.
have a good evening. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care.